Hey folks, since I didn't have a YouTube channel when I built this, I thought I'd just give everybody a quick tour of the homemade wood stove. The outdoor wood stove here before I light it up, as I took it apart last year to inspect it and show some other friends. Here you can see it's just an ordinary, cheap, indoor type wood stove, built into a concrete block enclosure. It's on a concrete pad, and then I built this steel enclosure around it out of old 12-inch I-beams. So there's way more seam in this thing than I would have liked, and yet it holds water, about 60 gallons of it. And there, hopefully you can see the shape of the standard shaped sort of wood stove down there, and the water all around it. And eventually I'll put a little corrosion preventing sort of antifreeze coolant in here, but we're still in the fiddling phase, so I don't want to be having to dump and capture that over and over again. You can see it's surrounded by this Roxol insulation, which is what I had filling the top area here. So you can see the remains of it. That's what I've got to put back now and put the lid back on. I've got just a fill tube there. You can see even the top is made out of a bunch of scraps, and all done with a stick welder, a rusty old material. I'm no professional welder, and I couldn't always see what I was doing, and yet it holds water, so anyone can do this. And here, my lid, at least for now, permanent temporary, is a sheet of cement board that I've been smearing my thin set mortar remains on when I do tile jobs. And out the back here is just 2 1.5-inch steel pipes, heavily insulated, coming out the top of the enclosure where the hot water be, and returning in the bottom. And I've got a drain plug down here. Oh, and also I have new chimney pipe this year, is the other reason I took this apart. I started with some old stuff that you could see through. Then the pipes come into the garage here and run about 10 feet over that way to the intersection of the garage and house, where I have the circulator pump for this operation. But even just these exposed pipes here provide enough radiant heat to keep this garage awfully garage warm. Even not being anywhere near finished with the ceiling insulation in this garage, only having this for most of the area, it can be around 0 Fahrenheit outside and not get below 45 in here, just from those pipes. And here's the circulator pump, taken out of someone's boiler system. I think they upgraded, but this happens to be a nice variable speed model with no knob. Prevents tampering, and a drain valve, and then a valve to help bleed the air out of the system when you're filling it up for the first time. Over here right now is where I connect this battery charger, and another one like it sometimes, to supply power to my radiators in the crawl space here. And it's just 6 volts, so all this openness is just fine. And here we have 2 Festiva radiators with their original fans, and run at 6 volts. They're nice and quiet, yet move lots of air, and they work pretty well, heating up the crawl space and allowing the heat to rise into the house. And this year I'm going to rip out that crappy old ductwork from the old central unit, and that'll give extra holes in the floor for the heat to rise up. Of course, I have radiant floor plans for the future, but this is working pretty well right now. So, there with the new flue pipe and our insulation reinstalled, I can put the lid back on and fire this thing up. Oh, now complete with dried and remoistened leaves. But boy, this Roxel insulation is great. Even though I left it lying around on the ground and it's all shredded up now, it's maintained its fluffiness. And you can kind of just piece it in here. And with the kind of overlapping that creates, I think it might even be better than when it was installed as bats. It takes around 2100 degrees Fahrenheit to melt. Good stuff. There, I knew I wanted to make the smokestack a little taller than last year, so I made it twice as tall. Oh, there you go. It'll just take a little while for our water to warm up. And in practically no time, we'll finally have somewhere safe from the frozen treachery of this beautiful, warm, sunny day. Hey, it's December!